So look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you in full transparency mode here. Theo Von is not allowing us to show this clip of Timothée Chalamet talking to him about Bernie Sanders. And what he said was pretty interesting, which is what I talked about in this clip, that he called Sanders a folk hero. They were talking about how Sanders really likes Seeger. And I was like, oh, wait, I covered Seeger, which a lot of you guys watch. Thank you very much. And I wanted to talk about this clip. But Theo and his team isn't letting us. So now you're hearing my dumb voice talk over still images. But anyways, here's what I discussed. Have fun. Quite a revealing moment in Theo Von's interview with A-list actor Timothée Chalamet, wasn't it? Because I got some thoughts on this. First, I like how Theo Von, yes, getting Timothée Chalamet is massive, but I thought the Bernie Sanders interview was really, really well done. And just on a surface level here, okay? Bernie saying that he is a huge fan of Seeger is the least surprising thing I've ever heard. Chalamet calling him a folk hero, interesting. But I also think what is rather telling is knowing that Timothée Chalamet grew up in affordable housing, a program that offered affordable housing in New York. I believe it was the same program that other huge names out of the city benefited from, which is a very good thing. It speaks volumes to at least somewhat of a signal that Chalamet gave that Bernie Sanders is his guy. No one would go out of their way if you are a lib, let's say, or even a righty for the most part, and call Bernie Sanders a folk hero. Because to them and to the establishment that we have seen railroad his candidacy 2 times over, he is a villain. He is not a folk hero. Folk hero is praise. Folk hero is legendary status. When Hillary Clinton was handed the nomination by the establishment, we were left saying, aw shucks, and we were left with no choice. In 20, and everybody from Van Jones to others who will say that the Bernie bros were the reason why they lost the presidency to Trump, that was nonsense. It was not reported as fact. It was pure speculation to say we sat home when we didn't. Then in 20, when Sanders ran, all it took was South Carolina. That's all that it took. And seeing for the entire establishment, Harris, Buttigieg, everybody that was up on that podium, like 30 people, saying, oh yeah, even though Bernie won Iowa and won Nevada and was showing strong signs throughout in other states, you know what? Joe won South Carolina. Let's give him the nomination. And we felt backstabbed, yet we still came out for him. We still did. And I always think, and these are really difficult feelings, but I always think, what if guys like Kavanaugh, who clerked when the Gore-Bush showdown occurred and Florida they gave to Bush, what would our climate policy be like? What would our clean water be like? What would our clean air be like? How much better off would we be from a climate perspective than we are right now? Hard to think about. How much better would the United States be if Bernie hypothetically were to win in 16 and 20? And how many people would the Dem establishment, if they were to say, yeah, we want populist ideas and we want leftist policy, how many people would have followed that were converted from Obama people to Trump people? Hard to think about, man. It really is. Because another part of this, and I'll get back to Chalamet in a second, another part of this is, as we've discussed, they villainize Rogan, and trust me, he has takes that should be villainized and critiqued and disassembled and fact-checked. But he was a Bernie bro, and his podcast was huge. And now we're left with the question, who's the Joe Rogan of the left, when that is the wrong way of putting it, because they don't really care about populist ideas. They care about winning elections while preserving the most amount of money and the most amount of capital. Now, with Chalamet, this is another moment of many where there are some people who lay the cookie crumbs to signal that is who they support. I do wonder, though, because, again, we know of his backstory and we know the ideas that Bernie has. Who else in Chalamet's orbit is a supporter of those ideas? Because if we saw something in this last election, it was billionaires, some, not all, because there were more billionaires who gave much more to the Trump side than the Harris side. Who in that orbit? Sans Oprah and Beyonce, who are literally billionaires. That's what I would like to know. This is also like what I feel, if it wasn't up to Trump and Harris, the average American voter who paid attention to politics. And if there's one thing that I've learned about Timothée Chalamet, he dedicates himself to these ideas and the research. And I saw this firsthand when he was on College Game Day. Because he basically said, the reason why I did this part and took this is because I wanted to promote it on ESPN. And apparently there was another tweet from years upon years ago where he met up, Andy Routens and Landry Fields put out something on social media being like, hey, we got 2 tickets if someone can meet us at this very location that's secretive and answer this trivia question. And it was Timothée Chalamet who did it. And he was like 12 or 13 years old. So not only does the dude know ball, but apparently he knows politics as well. I would not only love to interview him, but also ask him some of these things. Because if you have that dude who's in his mid-20s, I believe, giving some sort of support to Bernie Sanders and those policies, I am truly curious what that would awaken in some of the youth who, from all reports, at least from the male perspective, have gone to the right, have followed the Full Send podcast and the Nelk Boys and the Manosphere. I'm just curious. And also the Bob Dylan movie does look great. I will say that. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.